Want to speak real Persian from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at PersianPod101.com.
10 ways to amaze native speakers. It is very fun. Let's start. ممنون ولی فارسی زبون مادری من نیست. Thank you but I'm not a native speaker actually. ممنون ولی فارسی زبون مادری من نیست. Thank you but I'm not a native speaker actually. Oh, it means you already speak very well and someone thought you are a native speaker. That's perfect. Go ahead. فقط 1 سال طول کشید تا بتونم روون صحبت کنم. It took me only 1 year to become fluent. فقط 1 سال طول کشید تا بتونم روون صحبت کنم. It took me only 1 year to become fluent in English. I think 1 year is quite good. Anyway, I think it depends on how much time you spend on it or what other languages you already know. من تا 3 سال دیگه فارسی و مثل یه فارسی زبان صحبت می کنم. I'll speak Persian like a native speaker in 3 years. من تا 3 سال دیگه فارسی و مثل یه فارسی زبان صحبت می کنم. I'll speak Persian like a native speaker in 3 years. Yeah, as I said, I think different factors affect on the duration of being a native speaker. And you can speak like a real native. من 10 ساله که دارم فارسی یاد میگیرم. I've been learning Persian for 10 years. من 10 ساله که دارم فارسی یاد میگیرم. I've been learning Persian for 10 years. That's quite a long time and it means you already know how much this language is beautiful and unique. من میتونم فیلمای ایرانی رو بدون زیرنویس تماشا کنم. I can watch Iranian movies without subtitles. من میتونم فیلمای ایرانی رو بدون زیرنویس تماشا کنم. I can watch Iranian movies without subtitles. That's amazing. If you really can do it, it means you can really understand anything and you are really pro. Watching Iranian movie can make you familiar with their culture and you can understand a lot of items even. فارسی یاد گرفتن سرگرم کننده و آسونه. Persian is fun and easy to learn. فارسی یاد گرفتن سرگرم کننده و آسونه. Persian is fun and easy to learn. Yes, it is absolutely, and this is really beautiful. And when you start to learn Persian, you open the door of Persia's treasure of culture, beauty, and even wisdom. فارسی رو خودم دارم یاد میگیرم. I'm learning Persian all by myself. فارسی رو خودم دارم یاد میگیرم. I'm learning Persian all by myself. Nowadays with internet, all free materials and good resources for learning, you can do self-learning fast and easy. But if it was 50 years ago, it wasn't that much easy. من هر چیو که گفتی کامل فهمیدم. I completely understood everything you said. من هر چیو که گفتی کامل فهمیدم. I completely understood anything you said is perfect. Congratulations. It means you can easily communicate with the Persians and you can speak with them easily. من میخوام معلم زبان فارسی بشم. I want to become a Persian language teacher. من میخوام معلم زبان فارسی بشم. I want to become a Persian language teacher. I was a teacher before when I was in Iran and I know being and working as a muallim is very interesting and it is full of fun. دوست دارم بتونم یه روز کتاب ترجمه کنم. I'd like to be able to translate books. دوست دارم بتونم یه روز کتاب ترجمه کنم. I'd like to be able to translate books some days. I hope you really can do that. The books of Rumi and Khayyam, the Persian poet of 800 years ago, now are among the bestseller of US books.
Do you know how to say thank you in Persian? In this lesson, you'll learn 3 different ways to say it. Let's start with the easiest one.
ممنونم. ممنونم.
Another way to say thank you is
متشکرم. متشکرم.
Finally, here's a third way to express your gratitude.
مرسی. مرسی.
Okay, let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what we've learned.
ممنونم. ممنونم. متشکرم. متشکرم. مرسی. مرسی.
Want to speak real Persian from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at PersianPod101.com.
In this lesson, you're going to learn how to use ببخشید and other words when apologizing in Persian. ببخشید is used in situations like when we are ordering something in a restaurant or asking for something in a store, and so on. For example, ببخشید یه قهوه لطفاً. Excuse me, 1 coffee please. We can also use it when asking a question. ببخشید تخت جمشید کجاست? Excuse me, where is Persepolis? Similar to English, there is no informal way to say excuse me in Persian. The meaning is already polite. Persian people just ask questions more directly when speaking to a friend. But to make it polite, you can add لطفاً, meaning please, to the start or end of a phrase when asking for something. لطفاً یک قهوه میدی? Can you give me a coffee please? We also use ببخشید in a sentence when apologizing. This can be used both formally and informally, but in a more casual situation, it can also be shortened to ببخش, as in مرا ببخش. Forgive me. مرا ببخش. Please note that the way we say this phrase is different than the way it's actually written. The proper way is من را ببخش. First we have the word man or me. Next we insert را, which is always used grammatically after the object of a verb. In this case, it was me. Finally, we have the command verb ببخش, meaning you forgive. من را ببخش. You forgive me. But you will always hear it as مرا ببخش. Now it's time for Anita's advice. In Persian, just like American English, we usually don't say excuse me when asking for something from a friend. But when we want to ask something or call upon a friend, like, hey, do you know? Or, look, what is? Persian people use bebin, which literally means look. It is very common in casual speech. ببین تخت جمشید کجاست؟ Hey, where is Persepolis?
Do you know how to say I love you in Persian? In this lesson, you'll learn 3 different ways to say it. Let's start with how to express your feelings to your loved one.
دوستتان دارم. دوستتان دارم. دوستتان دارم.
Or if you want to explain those butterflies in your stomach, you can say
من بهت علاقه دارم. من بهت علاقه دارم. من بهت علاقه دارم.
And when you feel that I love you is not enough, you can say
کلمات از وصف عشق من به تو عاجزند. کلمات از وصف عشق من به تو عاجزند. کلمات از وصف عشق من به تو عاجزند.
You just learned 3 different ways to say, I love you in Persian.
آخ، میبخشید.
بله؟
پاتون رو گذاشتین روی پای من.
وای ببخشید.
اشکالی نداره.
خیلی عذر میخوام.
In this lesson, we're going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English? If you find yourself in a situation where you need assistance in English, this phrase can be a lifesaver. And because you're asking in Persian, you can be sure that everyone will understand what you're asking, even if their answer is no. Here's the informal and easy way to say it. İngilisi baladi. İngilisi baladi. In Persian, balad means can, or to be able to. Adding "i" to the end makes it an informal question. İngilisi baladi means, can you speak or communicate in English? Literally, it's, can you English? However, this is only used in very informal situations with close friends. Now we're going to make this sentence more polite by simply adding "it" to balad instead of "i." It becomes a slightly more formal question. İngilisi baladid? İngilisi baladid? But it's always a good idea to be as polite as possible when addressing strangers. Here's the most polite form. آیا شما انگلیسی صحبت می کنید؟ آیا شما انگلیسی صحبت می کنید؟ Let's pay close attention to a useful new word here. آیا is a question word used at the start of sentences to turn a regular sentence into a yes or no question. آیا شما انگلیسی صحبت می کنید means, do you speak English? By adding ببخشید or excuse me, the sentence becomes even more polite. ببخشید، آیا شما انگلیسی صحبت می کنید؟ ببخشید، آیا شما انگلیسی صحبت می کنید؟ If someone replies to you in English, you'll know the answer to your question is yes. But if they answer you in Persian, you might receive one of these responses. بله, yes. بله. یک کمی, a little. یک کمی. نه, من انگلیسی صحبت نمی کنم. No, I cannot speak English. نه, من انگلیسی صحبت نمی کنم. Or نه, من انگلیسی بلد نیستم. No, I can't speak English. نه, من انگلیسی بلد نیستم. Since this last example is a negative reply to a yes or no question, we need to say نه, meaning no, at the beginning of the sentence. We also said نمی کنم, meaning don't, after the verb صحبت, meaning talk or speak. Or نیستم, meaning am not, after the verb بلد, meaning can. Combined with صحبت, meaning talk or speak, now you know that صحبت نمی کنم means I don't speak, and صحبت می کنید means you speak. Also, نیستم is actually the negative version of هستم, but it looks slightly different in the negative form. Verbs and phrases change depending on the person speaking. Now it's time for Anita's advice. Persian people study the English language at school and love to use English, so most people will understand you if you speak to them in simple English. For those of you whose native language is not English, you can use this same basic question for any language you need. Here are some other language names in Persian. İtalyai for Italian, Rusi for Russian, Espanjai for Spanish, and Almani for German.
If you want to learn a language but don't have a lot of time to dedicate to the endeavor, you need to study as efficiently as possible. You probably aren't a language learning expert or a world traveler. You might have school or a job or two. So in this video, we'll give you 3 ways to help you learn language more efficiently so that you get the most out of your time and effort. Number 1, Use your time when you have it. The most valuable resource you have as a language learner is time. While you may not have to spend money to learn a language, you will have to spend time. Hours and minutes are a currency that you trade on a weekly basis to grow in your language learning. Language learning is probably a priority for you. It might not be the #1 priority, like keeping your job or taking care of your family, but it does have to be important enough for you to invest significant amounts of time into your learning. There's just no way around it. That being said, use your time wisely. Because of previous commitments, you can quickly fall into the trap of putting your language learning off, thinking, oh, I'll do it next week, or Saturday, I'll do it Saturday. Needless to say, a few weeks can go by and you haven't really learned or practiced anything. If you find that happening, then take some time and reevaluate your approach. It's probably a long shot for you to be able to spend hours every day learning a new foreign language, but you can use your time to spend an hour or even just 10 minutes a day, every day, studying or practicing. If you're on a busy schedule, an hour a day can sound like reaching for the stars, so start slowly with just a 5-minute lesson. Over time, as you learn more and it becomes more routine, you'll want to spend more time studying. And your studying doesn't even need to be all at once. Make use of the little gaps of time you have in the day. Listen to a podcast while driving to and from work. Review new words while on lunch break or right before bed. Even a quick review while in line at the store or waiting for the bus. Together, these moments add up. This way, your little study session will add up to around 60 minutes of practice every day. You'll quickly be able to see significant improvement in your language abilities. #2, don't method jump. When you're new to language learning, there's a temptation to try out the newest course, app, or method. There are more language learning tools and courses than I can list. But jumping around from podcast to podcast or from textbook to textbook can really hinder your learning process. It's important to find the best method for you, but when you do, stick with it. Don't get distracted by the newest app, or if you suddenly find something faster, cheaper, claiming it can teach you a language with no work on your part. Stick with your learning course or tool. Consistent practice over a period of time is what is essential for language learning. If you hit a bump or plateau, you might be tempted to think, maybe there's a faster or better way to learn. So you search around and buy the next best language learning tool, only to use it for a couple weeks and realize it wasn't really any better than the last course you tried, and the same difficulties you had are still there. If you're learning your first new language and you pick a specific method or course, we suggest you stick with it for at least 3 to 4 months. You actually hurt yourself in the long run if you constantly switch between resources because you never give yourself the opportunity to progress. #3, focus on one thing at a time. When you decide to learn a new language, you're going to be really excited. You have all your resources lined up, a plan in place, and you're ready to go. You think you'll spend 3 to 4 hours a day practicing and that you'll be fluent in no time, but that's only for about 3 days. Then you probably will get a little bit discouraged and avoid it for another 3 days. And this process might repeat 3 or 4 times before you realize that you might be approaching things the wrong way. You can't devour a whole new language in a very short time. You'll burn out immediately. It's better to focus on one small part of the language at a time, either a specific grammar point or a specific vocabulary topic. In the beginning, these should be based on the parts of the language you'll use right away. Even in the business world, research shows that replacing less important tasks with ones that add value and help you reach your goals is the best way to get the most out of your time. As you advance through the language and your level increases, try to pinpoint the harder aspects of the language and work on them one at a time. Learning a foreign language isn't easy. It takes time and work, but it is possible. If you stick to your learning plans and stay focused, you will see improvement in your skills and find satisfaction in using the language. Remember that learning a language is really more like a journey. It doesn't have to feel like school or work. Savor your experience with learning and enjoy every step along the way. And for even more tips on learning efficiently, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.